You know how sometimes you really want to get into a topic, properly understand it, but without getting totally swamped?
Yeah, hitting that sweet spot.
Exactly. So today we're digging into Sergey Kavoy's ideas, specifically from his YouTube video, Sarah Kyogon.
Which translates to Prologue or the green pill, right?
That's the one.
And just so everyone knows, everything we're talking about today, it's pulled straight from the transcript of that video. We're not, bringing in other takes or anything.
Nope, straight from the source. So the mission today is basically to unpack this green pill idea, where'd it come from, what's it supposed to do?
It's interesting. He even brings up this older concept, McCain, from way back in 2001.
On Big Mirror, wow, that site's long gone. Talk about a throwback.
Right. But even back then, in McCain, he was already wrestling with some big questions, themes he's coming back to now in his McCain Returns series.
Like what sort of themes?
Well, he mentions 3 specifically. Freedom versus, non-freedom, then creator versus God, and this third one, capitalist communism.
Capitalist communism.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
that sounds intriguing.
Definitely makes you pause, doesn't it? Yeah, these big ideas were there from the start. Freedom, control, creation. Timeless stuff, really.
Okay, so fast forward a bit. He says around the early 2000s, he started seeing serious problems with people.
He points to specifics. Chechnya comes up. Difficulties with the Russian population. He uses the word aggressive.
And something about Ukrainians, the sort of passive heating, lack of readiness.
Yeah, that phrase, passive heating. It sounds like he saw these societal things happening, these tensions, and felt people weren't really equipped internally.
And that's the backdrop for the green pill.
Seems like it. It's like, okay, something's fundamentally off here. We need a different approach. Hence this alternative pill.
The green pill. So it's another option, like the blue and red pills in the Matrix.
Kind of, but presented as distinct. It's green, right? And he stresses it needs regular acceptance, almost like taking a dose.
But no guarantee it works for everyone.
Exactly. No guarantees. He mentions it worked for him personally, had a positive effect, but it's not sold as like a magic bullet.
That regular acceptance part is interesting. Suggests it's a process, not a one-off thing.
Definitely. An ongoing engagement, maybe?
Yeah.
A way of thinking?
So who's it for then? Who's the target audience?
Well, he seems to be aiming it at people who already feel like something's off, inside themselves or in society.
And are doing something about it.
Yeah, people actively resisting that feeling. He gives examples like salsa dancers or yoga practitioners he knows on Facebook.
Salsa dancers? Yoga?
And people doing creative hobbies. It seems like it's for those already searching or expressing themselves in some way, maybe looking for something more.
They've already got some agency, some drive beyond the routine.
Precisely.
But what about, the rest of us? People may be stuck in the work-home grind.
He addresses that too. He suggests for those folks, maybe the big motivator to, quote, wake up and start doing something might be their kids, their young children.
Ah, okay. Doing something for the kids.
But here's the key part. The doing something he emphasizes there is mostly internal.
Internal? How so?
Finding comfort, positivity, happiness, joy, but finding it within yourself. It's not necessarily about changing your whole life externally.
So starting inside first, that's actually quite relatable.
It really is. It makes it less about needing some dramatic life overhaul and more about an internal shift you can make anywhere.
Then he gets into this observation about his own daughter.
Right.
And other kids.
Yeah, this is fascinating. He says he noticed his own positivity kind of dibbing when he watched children.
Contrasting it with how adults often look back at childhood with nostalgia.
Exactly. Which leads him to ask, why does that feeling we had as kids, that wholeness, that joy, why does it disappear? And crucially, can we get it back?
That's a big question. That longing for childhood simplicity or joy is pretty universal, isn't it?
It really resonates. He's tapping into something fundamental there.
And he contrasts his approach with things like Buddhism or Enlightenment.
Right. He finds those a bit vague. His words were something like, go somewhere unknown, take something unknown.
Okay.
Whereas, he argues, that inner feeling from childhood, that's something most people have actually experienced. It's a concrete reference point.
So it's more accessible, less abstract than Enlightenment.
That seems to be the idea. Makes it feel more achievable, maybe less intimidating. It's grounded in a shared human experience.
Gotcha. And he admits his green pill is a compilation, like the matrix itself.
Yeah, he says it draws from philosophy, religious ideas. He even hints a future playlist will explore those roots.
But what's original about his version, then?
He highlights the orientation towards a specific effect. And the first step, the primary effect, is that return to childhood, getting back to that state of being.
So it's less about just learning philosophy and more about achieving a certain inner state.
That's how he frames it. The outcome, starting with that childhood feeling, is key.
Then he mentions a second fact about learning, leading to, what was it?
Cessation of inner dialogue and seeing the human matrix.
Whoa. Okay, definitely Matrix vibes there. Cessation of inner dialogue, like quieting the mind.
Sounds like it. Common in contemplative practices, right? Potentially leading to a clearer perception of reality, or, as he puts it, seeing the human matrix.
Interesting. He also acknowledges other interpretations of the Matrix, the Wachowski's work.
Yeah, he mentions being aware of alternative assessments, finds them interesting, maybe positive.
Shows a bit of openness that he doesn't think is the only way to see it.
Exactly. Appreciates the complexity.
Now, practically speaking, how does he suggest people engage with this material? He doesn't want them binging the whole playlist.
No, he advises against that. He suggests taking it in doses, a dose being one video.
Right, like 2 main doses.
Yeah. First dose is the videos up to the one called The Potential of Man and the Dementors of Castaneda. Then pause.
Take a break, digest it.
Right. Then the second dose is the rest of the playlist. He does say a couple of specific songs mentioned can be watched anytime, though.
So he's thought about pacing, letting the ideas sink in.
Seems that way. It suggests these aren't simple ideas you just absorb instantly.
He also plans discussions on Facebook.
Hopes to get a small group going. He even notes how complex communication is these days on, well, pretty much any topic.
Tell me about it. So community and discussion are important here, too.
Yeah, seems like sharing the exploration helps.
And it's not all abstract thought, right? He's involved in other things.
Correct. He's apparently active in education reform. Started with higher ed, moving into secondary ed, too.
So practical application alongside the philosophy.
It suggests the inner work of the green pill might connect to his ideas about improving education, perhaps fostering that well-being or critical thinking.
Makes sense. And he keeps stressing regular engagement, viewing, discussing.
Yes, that acceptance and discussion, whether with him or others, seems crucial. And he ends on this note about not just relying on authority.
Oh yeah, the Bible quote.
Right, where the disciples ask who's greatest, and Christ's answer uses this word, woola. Kavoy says it means become like a child, not just be humble.
Become like a child. Wow. That loops right back to the core idea.
It does. A powerful way to frame it, reclaiming that state, not just submitting to rules. It adds this unexpected layer to the green pill concept.
So boiling it down, this green pill, it's presented as a personal journey, isn't it? An inner discovery.
Definitely. Starting with reconnecting to those childhood feelings, the wholeness, the joy.
Yeah, the stuff that often gets lost.
Yeah.
It's certainly a unique take on well-being, maybe even societal issues, all seen through this lens.
It really is. This deep dive, even just from his intro video, gives you a lot to chew on.
Which brings us to maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Thinking about that childhood feeling, that wholeness or joy.
What's maybe one tiny thing, one small step you could take today just to try and reconnect with that inner state, even for a moment?
Good question. And if this has sparked something, you can find Sergey Kavoy's channel on YouTube, IMIA, and check out the MahaNeo Returns playlist for yourself.
Might be worth exploring if you're curious about taking that green pill.